Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Public Service Commission's public hearing in case number 9716, which is Chaberton Solar Bonneville LLC's application for certificate of public convenience and necessity to construct a 5-megawatt solar photovoltaic generating facility in Hartford County, Maryland. Today is Monday, July 29, 2024. It's approximately 6:30 p.m. On October 2, 2023, Chaberton Solar Bonneville LLC filed an application for a certificate of public convenience and necessity to construct a 5-megawatt solar photovoltaic facility in Hartford County, Maryland. The project is anticipated to occupy approximately 37 acres of a 186-acre property located at 1624 Jarrettsville Road in Jarrettsville, Maryland. The property, a portion of tax map 0024-0004C, parcel 0139, is owned by John Cairns, and the project area will be leased to Chaberton Solar Bonneville for the development of the proposed ground-mounted community solar energy generating system. The purpose of tonight's hearing is to take comments from members of the public on the project. The hearing will begin with a presentation on the project by Bonneville, followed by a brief presentation by the Department of Natural Resources Power Plant Research Program of its recommendations with respect to the project, followed by the Maryland Office of People's Counsel, and then the technical staff of the Public Service Commission as to their respective recommendations regarding the project that they have. Then we will take comments. If you have any questions for any of the parties, Chaberton or Office of People's Counsel or Commission staff or PPRP, you'll have an opportunity to ask questions after we take comments and go off the record. I cannot answer any questions, however, because this is a matter under my consideration. In addition to taking comments tonight, written comments on the project may be submitted electronically or by first-class mail through August 9th of this year, 2024. Comments submitted electronically must be submitted to the Commission's public comment Dropbox, which can be accessed through the Commission's website at psc.state.md.us. If they're submitted by first-class mail, it should be addressed to Jamie Bergen, Chief Clerk, Maryland Public Service Commission, William Donald Schaefer Tower, 6 St. Paul Street, 16th floor, Baltimore, Maryland, 21202. And please reference case number 9716 so the comments get to the correct file. This is the second public comment hearing. The first one was a virtual hearing. The evidentiary hearing is currently scheduled for Tuesday, August 13th, 2024 at 10 a.m. in the 19th floor hearing room of the Public Service Commission offices in Baltimore. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to counsel for Chaberton Solar Bonneville.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good evening. My name is Andy Flavin. I'm with the law firm of Trout Pepper Sanders LLP, and I represent the applicant, Chaberton Solar Bonneville LLC. And at this point, if I may, like to turn this over to Chaberton, to Lauren Marchi and Matt Castro, who will go through some slides discussing the project.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you all for coming out and for the air conditioning today. My name is Lauren Barchi. I am the Community Engagement Manager for this project for Chaberton Energy, and I am joined with the Development Manager, Natalie Castro, for this project. Chaberton, we are a Maryland-based community solar developer. We are dedicated to caring for and benefiting the local communities. We are here tonight to discuss Project Bonneville, which, as Her Honor said, is a community solar project being planned off of Jarrettsville Road, less than a mile and a half from where we are right now. We started our outreach for this project last summer, which included neighbor visits, letters to over 200 surrounding neighbors, and a community meeting that was actually held here on September 18th of last year. At that time, we didn't have any objections from the community, mostly due to the remote nature of this project. As Her Honor said, we had our first public hearing, which was virtual for this project on April 10th, where, again, as Her Honor said, there was nobody signed up to speak for or against the project at that time. This community solar project will benefit the local communities in a couple of different ways. Includes tax revenue to the state and county, and an average of $300 of annual savings to subscribers for the project. There will also be immediate environmental benefits consistent with Maryland's renewable energy and sustainability goals, including replacing non-renewable sources of energy and planting pollinator habitat that can increase farming production in the local area and support local bee and insect populations. This project will also have no impact on the view shed of the surrounding area, as it is over 3,000 feet from Jarrettsville Road and it is over 1,000 feet from the nearest residence. Community solar is a program that was created and is regulated by the state of Maryland, which allows Marylanders to be sure of the savings and benefits that they will receive from the project. Community solar projects are very different from utility scale projects, and they are much smaller in size, usually under 40 acres, and utility scale projects are usually well over 100 acres, if not more. Community solar projects also are connected to the local grid, which means it can benefit the local grid by making it more resilient and investing in new infrastructure. Project Bonneville specifically is a 5 megawatt project, and it is on a 186 acre parcel on West Jarrettsville Road. The proposed project will utilize approximately 37 acres of that 186, which is less than 20% of the total parcel. The project itself will be located on the north side of the parcel, tucked deep within in the parcel. Again, over 3,000. It is technically 3,800 feet from Jarrettsville Road, and surrounded on 3 sides by at least 200 feet of thick forest. To gain access to the site, we will be using the existing access path located on the property. The project's access to the site will be controlled via a lock gate with a 7-foot-high agricultural style fence around the perimeter of the project. The solar panels will be mounted on trackers that run along the north-south axis, and the solar panels will move east and west to track the sun. There are 3 locations within the project area that will house our inverters and transformers. These equipment banks are on the north, east, and south portions of the project. The project site is nestled close to some environmentally sensitive features, such as wetlands, the East Branch of Winters Run, and the FEMA floodplains. However, the development area specifically has been chosen to avoid negative impacts to these features, and the project has passed the reviews of numerous state agencies responsible for environmental protection. Furthermore, we will be following the stormwater management and erosion and sediment control best practices established by Harker County to ensure there is no impact to the surrounding streams. To protect the view shed, the site's existing topography and dense forest cover provides a natural screening from public view. There is over 4,500 linear feet of existing forest coverage surrounding the solar project to the north, west, and eastern sides. An extra 25-foot wide landscaping buffer is proposed to the south of the project to complement the existing buffer. Our proposed additional landscape screening includes 3 rows of vegetation. The trees and bushes will be spaced anywhere from 6 to 16 feet apart, depending on the species. So the visual impact of the project will be properly mitigated. This project will be connected to the local distribution grid. The project is in the PG&E territory with a parcel next to an existing 3-phase circuit with enough capacity to interconnect without material upgrades. We will connect to PG&E's existing 33 kV circuit about 400 feet outside the parcel entrance, right of the transmission lines. The pathway will come off the existing overhead line and travel about half a mile north underground, following the existing access path towards the rear of the property to reach the project equipment located on the southeast corner of the project area entrance. Thank you all so much for allowing me to share some details about Project Bonneville. This presentation was brief, but we are available on an ongoing basis. If you have any questions, my card is available as you need. Thank you all very much.
Next, we'll hear from Pete. Mr. Carl, if you could just,
Good evening, Your Honor, and good evening, everyone. My name is Supida Pukau. It is spelled SUPIDA-PIWKHOW. And I am the project manager for the state's review of this solar project. My agency, the Power Plant Research Program, is part of the Maryland Department of Natural Resources, and we coordinate an independent review of the CPCN application for the reviewing state agency, which include Department of Natural Resources, Environment, Agriculture, Transportation, Commerce, and Planning, as well as the Maryland Energy Administration. For this case, the secretaries of DNR and MDE are recommending approval of the CPCN, and PPRP has submitted recommended licensing conditions for the PSC review. PPRP also filed its direct testimonies and also exhibits on July 18, 2024, with the public versions being available on the PSC website and the PSC case number 9716, mail log 310957. And the matter is now set for an evidentiary hearing on August 13, 2024. Thank you, Your Honor.
thank you. Office of People's Counsel?
Good evening, Your Honor, and good evening, everyone on Zoom. And I'm sorry my back is to everyone in the room, but my name is Peggy Costello. I am here on behalf of the Maryland Office of People's Counsel. So the Maryland Office of People's Counsel, what we do is we advocate on behalf of residential utility consumers. And we do that in two primary ways. One is that we make sure that utility companies are providing you with safe and reliable service. And then the second part of that is that we do our best to make sure that your rates are not unreasonable. And if there is a rate increase, that it is only being brought up enough to ensure that your service is still safe and it's still reliable. So thus far, my office has reviewed everything that's been filed in this matter. We see no reason to oppose this CPCN. I will be here for the rest of the evening if anyone has any further questions for me about my office, what we do, our role in this, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have. And if not, I'm happy to give you the number for my office and we can refer you to someone who can better answer what you need. Thank you.
Thank you. Technical staff?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Peter Wilson, and I'm an attorney representing the technical staff of the Maryland Public Service Commission. We are a party to this case and participate in everything that goes on. We've already filed written testimony from our engineering department on the stability and reliability of the electric grid and what effect this project may have on it. We also have filed written testimony from our environmental analysis and planning department that will discuss the effects to the environment and the Maryland clean environment policies, and also on the economy and the effects this may have on the local economy. I'm also available for questions.
Thank you. So first we will take comments from people that are here in person this evening. When I call your name, if you don't want to speak, let me know that you're just here, because I appreciate everyone signing in, so I know how many people attended. But if you do want to speak, please come up to the microphone, say and spell your name before reporters, so we get it correctly in the record. I have Fred and Carolyn Crawford. No, you want to speak, or no? No, we don't want to speak. Okay. Andrea Holmes. No. John, is it Call Jr.? Layla Hadj Cheek.
Leela. I approve, but I'll submit the comments.
Okay. Is it Tim Hone?
Not at this time.
Pat Vincent or Vicente?
I'll just give a listen.
Keith Clem,
Just listening as well.
Patty Hankins,
My name's Patty Hankins, Hankins. Solar energy production is land intensive and should be directed away from agricultural applications. Utilizing 37 acres to produce a mere 5 megawatts of energy in only daylight hours doesn't support the growing needs of our electric grid in Maryland. PJM's Transmission Expansion and Advisory Committee documents state that solar energy has low availability in winter. Solar does not produce a 1 megawatt to 1 megawatt of electricity as thermal generation because solar generation is intermittent and therefore cannot be relied upon to meet the demand when needed. Solar applications need to be directed to brownfields, rooftops, and parking lots. Solar applications in productive farmland are an abuse of the limited resource of land. Solar generation cannot provide Maryland energy security. As this commission knows, Maryland currently imports 40% of its electricity needs, mostly from Pennsylvania. With the planned closure of the Brandon Shores generation plants, Harford County citizens will once again be responsible for hosting more high voltage transmission, which is currently in front of the commission in case number 9748. The Brandon Shores Retirement Mitigation Project will increase Maryland electricity imports, again from Pennsylvania. In addition, PJM's 2022 Window 3 projects will bring Harford County another series of high voltage transmission projects, soon to be reviewed by the commission as early as February 2025, and again, to bring more electricity from Pennsylvania. I'm sure Maryland will be importing well over 50% of its electricity by the time these projects are completed between 2028 and 2030. The fact remains that solar and wind generation cannot power Maryland. If they could, Maryland would not need to import this massive amount of electricity from Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania's legislators are beginning to voice concerns about Maryland's irresponsible energy public policies. Please refer to the blog that I'll attach. I wrote on 7/3/2024, Maryland Energy Security, where I quote from Pennsylvania State Senator Gene Yaw's June 14, 2024 letter to PJM. And I quote Senator Yaw, "We must recognize that many of the challenges we face today, which are accelerating very quickly, namely concerns over sufficient transmission capacity, loss of electric power generation, and the inability to site and build new baseload power generation, meaning not solar, are tied directly to poorly thought out state public policies, which have prioritized public policies considerations above the needs of consumers. For example, while many states surrounding Pennsylvania have touted their climate goals and reductions, they have conveniently ignored that they have achieved many of these goals simply by shutting down their in-state generation. As a result, they rely on imports from electricity from states like Pennsylvania, which is the largest electricity exporting state in the nation, increasing transmission costs, line loss due to distant transport of electricity, and increased risk of blackouts or brownouts. Other state policies have upset the balance of competitive power generation by subsidizing preferred energy resources. Many of these resources incapable of providing baseload power generation on demand or threatening coal and natural gas generation with onerous carbon taxes. For example, just this prospect of Pennsylvania entering the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, RGGI, has cost the Commonwealth billions of dollars in private capital investment and thousands of jobs, and at the same time failed to demonstrate any commensurate environmental benefit to the public. Too often, energy policies being hijacked to serve politically expedient objectives rather than to meet the most fundamental objective that it should serve, ensuring the lights go on when we flip the switch. The commission needs to tell the Maryland governor and legislators in Annapolis that it is time to be responsible for Maryland's own energy needs. It's time the commission supports reliable generation in Maryland. It's time the commission stop pretending that solar generation should increase its footprint on agricultural land to meet the energy needs of Maryland. Thank you.
Thank you. anybody, changes their mind and wants to speak, still have an opportunity. Amy O'Neill?
Yes, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Turn my back to you so that everybody can see me on the Zoom. My name is Amy O'Neill. That's A-I-M-E-E, O'Neill, O''N-E-I-L-L. I echo the facts that Patty Hankins has just recited for you. And I also wish to state my ongoing objection to the siting of solar arrays on agricultural land. Productive land should not be sacrificed for the, as Patty has pointed out, the energy goals which are misguided in the state of Maryland to pretend that solar and wind is going to sufficiently provide electric service for our citizens. As we already know, the increase in moving electricity from out of the state of Maryland, the increased cost of moving electricity from out of the state of Maryland into the state of Maryland to satisfy our needs because of the reduction of production in the state of Maryland has resulted in increased rates. Many people are seeing them in their bills, electric bills. My ongoing recommendation, and actually I implore the commission and those who are responsible for energy production in the state of Maryland to instead insist that solar arrays be placed on brownfields, on commercial and industrial rooftops. They could be placed on the interstate medians. These are successfully done in Europe. And I've seen many of those in images and reports regarding the placement of solar arrays. There is insufficient science to support the statement that when a solar array is placed on productive agricultural land that you will ever return to its full productivity. There is consideration for limited productive production under a solar array, but I find that to be somewhat misleading and disingenuous. So again, I continue my objection to the placement of solar arrays on any productive agricultural land for community solar projects. And I echo again the comment that this 5 megawatt project taking up 37 acres of productive land is a very small return. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Again, if I didn't call your name because you said you didn't want to speak, but you've now changed your mind, feel free to raise your hand and let me know.
If I'm just on in, I'd like
Okay.
to say a few words.
Oh, please, can you, just say and spell your name before.
And my name is Ed Grimmel, Grimmel, owner of Grimmel Farms. I have many folders. Well, first of all, I own several farms in Maryland and Pennsylvania. I have many folders from solar companies wanting to put solar panels on my farms. I spoke to one today just to get some information. A 7 megawatt is going to cost $22 million to install. So this 5 is going to cost $20 million. The return, I'm doing the math in my head, the return on this. How many houses would this 5 megawatt supply? 1,000, 2,000, 3,000? I don't know. I'd like to know. I've been a farmer my whole life, and it was under my knowledge that Harford County has had a restriction, no ag land could have solar on. That has recently changed. I found out a week ago that Maryland is overriding Harford County's regs that can go on ag land. Not my land, the farms I own is ag preservation. That is restricted, but just ag zone land is not restricted. As a lifelong farmer, I'm the information about why am I getting all of these solicitations from solar companies all out of state when to come. And I've looked into it 20 years down the road or 18 years down the road, who's going to remove these panels? You may put a bond down now, but the bond then is only going to be a fraction of the removal. Where do you go with them? where do you go with these panels? Who's going to remove them? And idle land for 20 years, everything Amy said is very true. That land won't be productive for 4 or 5 years, at least, till you build it back up. I looked into the maintenance of the land. If they put solar panels on some of my farms, who's going to keep it mowed? You have noxious weeds, thistle seeds blowing around. Saplings are going to grow. Land stays idle for 3 years, got saplings growing. What is your maintenance program on this land? Another point, I talked to several farmers at our Harford County Farm Fair last week. Right here, 5 miles down the road at Solar Company, you're driving through farmers' crops. Get a picture, you're driving through farmers' crops. You drove through my crops on this project a year ago, corn, planting wheat. You drove through my wheat. After planting, you do core test. Before harvesting, you drove around the edge through my wheat on these fields. Farmers don't like people driving through the crops. You already got a bad taste in farmers' mouth. The farmer down at Upper Crossroads off of Green Road, he's got pictures. He drove right through the cornfield. No respect for farmers now. What's it going to be if I put a solar field in? I mean, I own over 1,800 acres. You can imagine the folders I'm getting in the mail from Pennsylvania and Maryland. 7 farms in Pennsylvania, 8 in Maryland. My mailbox is full. Other farmers get them, they trash them because we've looked into it. 9 years ago, I put solar on 2 barn roofs from a corn dryer. Oh, your electric bills will be nothing. You can sell it back. Damn it! When I'm drying corn, I still pay $2,000 or $3,000. It looked good on paper. I mean, if it's going to pay, great. But my solar on my roofs are not paying for my corn drying. I mean, it just doesn't. It looked good on paper before I put it on. I had to put money out. This could be great. I'm still writing BG that check. Yeah, not going to all months, but September, October, November, December, I write tremendous checks, and the solar meter's running. The lifespan of these is 20 years, correct? After 10 years, it starts diving. The last 5 years, it really dips. A lawyer looked into one of these. If it's not producing solar to your expectation, the landowner is like the payment starts dropping the landowner. Looks good the first couple of years, but after that, it just starts ski diving down the slope. Don't know if yours is that way. I don't know. I probably got mail on here from you all. It never opened up. But do we want electricity or do we want higher food prices? I know this is going all over Maryland. You've eaten up good farmland, productive farmland, which I own a lot of productive farmland. Food prices are going to go up. How many acres are they looking to put in solar over Maryland? Does anybody know? Anybody know? Thousands, thousands, and thousands. Harford County Farm Fair, we're down there. I said, why is solar on all these roofs? Maryland State Fair's got it on their roofs. That Maryland State Fair. I mean, all of the government buildings, why isn't solar on their roofs? All the schools, is the solar on this roof we're in today? Why not? Just a question, why not? It's not farmland here, it used to be. It came, nothing else be done to it. Turn lights on, solar on the roof. But this looks good. Yes, I'd like to put all my acres in solar and collect a big check for $3,500 an acre. But I don't know. I cannot get these questions answered I've asked. How many houses is this 5 megawatt going to supply? I looked at my electric bill before it came. Yeah, I got a pool running, 2 air conditioners running. My family was in. I used 4,000 kilowatt hours this past month. Electric bill is pretty solid. Is that the average? Does anybody know the average? Nobody give me any answers. I mean, what is the average electric bills, kilowatts?
Again, sir, I'm not here to answer.
I know, but-
questions. I'm
Hey,
presiding
who
over the
can
hearing.
give me the answers?
At the end of the hearing, I'm taking comments.
Yes.
And ask your questions.
Well, but where can I get answers for that about kilowatt hours and how many houses? Because
I'm not sure.
I have a contract.
But you can ask the question.
I have an on contract signed for a 7 megawatt. Just a half mile from here. I'm looking, trying to get information on it. But I'm a farmer, I'm not an electric producer. But I respect Amy for all her comments. There is Harford County owned land by the government that we call brown fields that don't grow nothing but deer. I mean, it's Harford County owns, I think, over 8,000 acres now of all the land, but a lot of open land. Many places are non-productive. No, not one thing is they're not making any more land. That's it. We have what we got. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who's here in the room this evening who'd like to provide comments? Before we, please.
My name is Joe Tunney, Tunney. I have a ground mount solar system on Jarrettsville Pike. Last month, my BG bill was $2.98. I also own a solar company, and my office building has solar. I'm a very big proponent or supporter of solar, obviously. In fact, I met my wife almost 40 years ago selling her parents a solar system. I'm in agreement with Mr. Grimmel. We have a lot of brown areas and county roofs, schools, all that could have rooftop solar. We'll address one issue. Solar is advancing quickly. 10 years ago, if you invested in solar, your panel might be 190 watts, 210 watts. Today, they're over 400 watts. So you're getting a lot more production out of a panel. Also, there's battery backup. So even in the days that that are overcast or you lose power, you can have battery backup. I don't want to make this anything more than I'm a big supporter of solar, but I'm also a supporter of where it should go. They're not making any more land. I greatly respect our farmers here. I think that community solar is a great idea, just not on agricultural land. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else before we turn to virtual participants? In the virtual Zoom meeting, I see a Charles Walker. If Charles Walker would like to speak, please unmute yourself, say and spell your name for the court reporter. We'll move on. We'll circle back. Christina Stillwell, if you'd like to speak at this time, please unmute yourself.
Nothing at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Lynn Haid.
Good evening. My name is Lynn Hade, Lynnhade. And I don't have much to say except to echo the comments that have been made already. We do need solar. We do not need to use farmland for it. There are plenty of other places that solar can and should be installed. We've got a climate crisis and we need to address it, but it doesn't help to take away farmland. Thank you.
Thank you. I had a couple other people indicate they wanted to participate virtually. Ashley Lato. Don't see that Ashley joined the meeting. Or Brian Mullen. Also don't see that Brian Mullen joined the meeting. Delegate Erica. Don't see that Delegate Erica has joined the meeting. But Elizabeth Simmons. Want to give anyone, either virtually or in the room, the opportunity to speak if they want to at this time? We can, if you decide later that you want to speak and we're also here, we'll go back on the record. But at this point, we're going to go off the record, and people will be available for questions if you want to ask questions, because again, I'm not able to. Okay, so we're going to go off the record now. It's 7:09.
Should we stop recording or?